Hello, and welcome to the American Songbook Association's Sunday Sessions series. This series is an ongoing fundraiser for our expanding education programs. The American Songbook Association reaches thousands of students nationwide, teaching jazz, musical theater, and the great American Songbook in an effort to preserve and promote these timeless American musical legacies. This programming also includes Cabaret Scenes Magazine, the official magazine of the ASA devoted to covering live music in the United States and Europe. We hope that you enjoy each episode of this Sunday Sessions series. We ask that you subscribe to our YouTube channel and that you consider a donation. Every dollar helps us keep the music playing. See the banner at the bottom of your screen for details. Thank you. And now, here is your Sunday Sessions series host, Carolyn Montgomery.
Hello and welcome to this 1 year of Sunday Session series. This is our 25th episode and we've been doing this for 1 year. I filmed our first one right here on Cape Cod and I am back at the same place enjoying the weather very, very much and enjoying the fact that this series, which has funded the education programs for the American Songbook Association, is going strong because of guests like the ones that we have today. I have three people, all three whom I call friends, who have produced beautiful creative work during a very, very difficult time. This global pandemic locked us down, but it did not lock down many people's creativity. And they either found ways to continue doing what they do or developed completely new skills. It's been incredibly impressive to watch, and I wanted to have three of them with me today. Our first guest is not new to Cabaret. She has won 2 Macs and a Bistro. Her show, My Ship from 1941, which is musically directed by Ian Herman with Jeff Harner as the artistic director, garnered many, many awards and wonderful reviews. And she has been quite busy in this last year. I'm going to introduce Dawn Derow in a moment live, but let's get to know her for a moment first.
My ship's aglow with 1,000,000 pearls, and rubies fill each bin. The sun sits high in a sapphire sky when my ship comes in. I can wait the years till it appears one fine day, one spring, but the pearls and such, they won't mean much if there's missing just one thing. I do not care if that day arrives. That dream need never be.
So it is my honor and pleasure and privilege to bring into my live broadcast studio Dawn Derow. Hi,
Hi,
how are you?
I'm great. How are you? How's Cape
Well,
Cod?
Cape Cod is absolutely lovely, and I know that Cape Cod is from whence you hail, so you are excited to get up here soon as well.
Yes, I know. We're going to definitely have some rosé by the bay.
Absolutely, and let's not bury the lead here. I mean, I'll tell you, I'm girly enough to find this extremely exciting. Dawn will be coming to Cape Cod with her fiancé. Am I correct?
Yay!
Dawn is newly engaged to be married. That is very exciting stuff.
Yes.
But let's talk a little bit about what you have been doing. So March 20th, 2020 hits, and you have a thriving career going in the cabaret field and also in your body work and fitness classes. Here, let's take a look. There she is. There she is. Now you're filming in this, right? This is one of the things you started doing.
I did. That was one thing during the lockdown. I moved up here into John's beautiful, stone manor house and on 17 acres with my dog, Maddie. And which, living in a 1-bedroom apartment for 20 years in New York City, that's not bad.
It's a big change. Yeah. Maddie was very happy.
Oh, she was. I think she's going to be the most traumatized when we, go to the Cape and have a new surrounding. But, I think I had been wanting to kind of get more into the country living. We had talked about that a couple times, like for a couple of years, 2015, I was like, okay, it's been a long time in the city and with the hustle and the whole bit. But, my fitness career has afforded me the opportunities to stay in the city and do what I love and both singing and fitness and wellness. But when the lockdown and the pandemic began, I was like, okay, let's work on my YouTube channel and let's make videos and let's get this out, and not to monetize it, but just to get health and fitness and awareness, body awareness out there,
Right. And did you feel at all paralyzed in the beginning, or did you just jump right into let's do this virtually?
I was lucky that I have a small niche of clients that were like, okay, yeah, let's do FaceTime. Let's do Zoom. Let's do it. I mean, I think I signed up for Zoom, like the year-long subscription, like, day 5 or something.
So did I. It was unbelievable. By the 28th of March, I was teaching full-time online. It was like a week,
Yeah. And, I think for the first month, the hard thing for me was that I am a very hands-on instructor and trainer. And I definitely missed that. But then you started to be able to see things on the screen that it's like, no, extend your leg a little bit more. Like, no, your hip is like you can really tune in and see it on the screen. But the hands-on is definitely still missed when I'm working with clients on screen. But the good thing about that is I have clients on Cape Cod. I have clients in Boston. I have them down in North Carolina. I basically started this stretch class that was an accumulation of, when I worked up in Wellfleet for a couple summers at Hardcore Studio, I had a couple clients from there. I had a couple clients from New York City that go up and down to Florida or wherever they are. And I was able to email them all and say, hey, would you want to do a stretch class, like a weekly class? And some of them, honestly, they've been there every week. We made it a two times a week. We do it. I mean, I've got Sidney Meyer on there now. He's
that's wonderful.
He actually was just here. He left a couple hours ago with Mike Weaver, and Janice Hall is in the class. So I've opened it up to the cabaret and music community as well. It's $12 a class. Yeah. And it's Sunday.
Wonderful. And how do they find you if they want to find you, Dawn?
The best thing is go to my website, sign up for my newsletter, or email me on there. Or, any of the platforms, like they can Facebook message me. I think that's what Janice and I talked about it on like Messenger, and then we text each other about it. And
right, because the students at the ASA, we talk about the incorporation of their body. Your body is an important part of your physical, of your makeup as an artist, as an actor, as a singer. It's really important not to neglect your body. And it doesn't mean that you have to be a hardcore athlete. It means you have to move and stretch and strengthen. Yeah. And so that's so great. So, you were going great guns with My Ship. You were traveling with it. It was great. Oh, by the way, here's John. Here's John and Dawn. There you go. And then the world shuts down and you decided to make an album.
Well, we had decided before, but it was kind of in the middle of being, we did one date. We were there in the studio February 20th of 2020. And there was obviously a lot of preparation and conversations with Paul Rolnick, who produced it and did all the sound mixing and engineering, and the trio, with Ian Herman and Daniel Glass and Tom Hubbard. So the four of us were kind of the structure of it all, or the five. I guess I'm five. That's
okay. It's all right.
It's okay. I'm kidding.
I would have understood you. Yeah. What a good group of guys.
Anyway, and we went in. So we were at Samurai Hotel Studio in Astoria, Queens, New York is gorgeous. This guy, David Stoller, he built the place with his 2 hands.
Samurai Studio. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, and it's gorgeous. It was beautiful. I looked at a lot of different studios, and we went there and started, and then we had March 20th was supposed to be the second date. And, you know, obviously a couple of days into the pandemic, you know, Daniel and Tom were like, hey, we just lost all our gigs in like a day.
Yeah.
Are you going to keep your recording date? And I was like, yeah, of course. It's only like 5 of us. Like,
yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
And then David Stoller got sick, actually. He didn't get COVID, but he got sick. And it was one of those, I don't know what this is. I'm sick. Like, nobody can come to the studio. So.
Wow. Yeah.
We moved it to September when things opened up more, and when, you know, we could still socially distance in the studio and wear masks. I mean, nobody came into the listening room. We all stayed in our own rooms with our headphones on and masks, and you know, and even Michael Stever came and filmed, and he stayed in my room. It was like, okay, just come in and film only me then. And let's, you know, stay away.
Let's take a look, because we can see how this was made.
This is the 20th. Yeah. This, I think, is the clips. This is from the 20th. Yeah.
Excellent. So this is Dawn Derow making an album.
Chip, songs from 1941.
He was the famous trumpet man from out Chicago way. He had a boogie style that no one else could play. He was the top man at his craft. But then his number came up.
I've got my trio with me. Ian Herman's on piano, Daniel Glass on drums, and Tom Hubbard on bass. Paul Rolnick is the mixing producer. And then this beautiful studio is owned and pretty much built with his own 2 hands, David Stoller.
When my ship comes in.
I started this project with the late, great Barry Levitt. We set out to pick 1941 really all because of the song My Ship, which is written by Kurt Weill and Ira Gershwin. It's from the musical Lady in the Dark, which was on Broadway in 1941. It's my favorite song to sing. It's one of my favorites. I mean, when people ask me, what's your favorite song? My Ship is definitely one of the top songs on probably the top 10 list of tunes I like to sing.
I like New York in June. How about you? I like a Gershwin tune. How about you? I love a fireside.
I was hired to do a show. The theme that year was all 40s. So I realized it was written in 1941. And so I started to look at the rest of that year. And we started putting together a song list and creating a show. And then we realized, wow, this is actually kind of cool. There's a lot of really wonderful songs from 1941. We brought in Jeff Harner to direct it, and then it set sail.
All the lights are low, may not be new, but I like it how the night is cold. And
The music, the melodies, the lyrics, the storytelling from that generation, that era it's just so profound, and there's just so many beautiful colors in the selection of music that we've picked from that year. Obviously there's many more songs from 1941, but we've got some really good ones. I'm really interested in preserving the American Songbook. Maybe they hear something they've never heard before, or maybe they hear something that they've heard 100 times by other artists. Like, I mean, Billie Holiday recorded this music, and obviously Ella Fitzgerald and some of the big real torch singers of back in the 40s and 50s. A lot of people have recorded these songs, and maybe they hear something just done a little differently or a different interpretation through me.
someday we'll meet and you'll dry all my tears, then whisper sweet little things in my ear, hugging and a kissing.
All right. That was lovely. And what an accomplishment. You must be so excited. And I can't believe how quickly these interviews go, but I do want to touch on two things, because not only did you continue with My Ship, the Songs of 1941, but you have also debuted a show at Birdland about Edie Gourmet.
Yes.
Yeah, with Jeff Harner directing. Which got beautiful, beautiful review in Broadway World and other places. And that's going to also be making its way out into the world. Am I right?
Yeah, we're next doing it July 30th and 31st at the Kittredge Center for the Arts.
Excellent.
On the Cape.
Yeah.
And, I actually did My Ship there a couple of years ago, so I'm thrilled to go back there. It's a beautiful space. And I'll be there with Jeff Harner and Ian Herman. And Jeff sings. He's my Steve for the night.
There you go.
Then we're doing it August 22nd at the Cultural Center in West Yarmouth, which is a smaller venue. It's an old bank, which is kind of cool. And that show will be with Danny Backer. So the show, when I did it at Birdland, the kind of short and condensed version, or the cabaret size version, the one act, I had both of them. And that's how we'll do it probably in New York, or whenever we need to do it as like a 75 minute show. But on the Cape, it's going to be a 2-act show. So, and then we're working on a date in Provincetown. So we'll,
all right.
Yeah. So,
so you've been teaching fitness classes online. You recorded a show. You managed to move. You managed to get engaged. You took some trips in there, and you fully produced an Edie Gourmet show. What is wrong with you? The laziness is palpable.
You know, yesterday we did My Ship here in my backyard, and it was fantastic. And we didn't get rained out, which was great. And Paul Rolnick made a speech after, and he was like, you know, Dawn Derow is the Energizer Bunny.
Yeah.
She just keeps going. And he likes to use that term. I think that's kind of perfect. And yeah, you know, I think also too, I mean, I can't take all the credit. I think I have a good knack at picking really talented people around me, and wonderful, beautiful souls that share their talent and their gifts with me. And they're in my team, they're on my crew, and they help all these things, you know.
Well, that's lovely. And you're clearly a force that drives them all to do their best work. So I wish you and John a long and happy life together. I know that you're going to have a wonderful summer on the Cape. Yeah. And Maddie, the terrier, will be there. She is, lucky little girl, traveling around to Cape Cod and all sorts of points.
Yes.
And you're moving to Florida in October?
Yeah, we'll be down in North Palm Beach in October.
Okay.
And then we'll be back in New York City. I'll be back and forth a lot. And
of course.
So
good. We'll have you back on to see about what other 17 pursuits you've done in 5 minutes. Thank you so much, Dawn.
For see you on the Cape, and thank you for having me. We will have a big squeeze and a hug and a glass of wine.
Absolutely. For the first time in a long time. Good to see you, and thank you.
Mwah, love you.
Bye. So if you're just joining us, that was Dawn Derow. This is Carolyn Montgomery for the American Songbook Association. And today I'm interviewing 3 people who have been pandemic producers, people who have managed to either continue along with their talent, who have learned some incredible tech skills, who learned to parlay both their talent and tech skills into either a regular series or some creative work that has impacted a lot of people. Our next guest is a seasoned and acclaimed actress and singer. She has toured all over the country and delighted audience thus. She did a show at 54 Below that I managed to catch. It was so wonderful, called Fancy Meeting You Here, directed by Andrea Marcovici, an Aarons and Flaherty show that was just absolutely wonderful. And she is a new board member of the American Songbook Association. We are so excited to have her. And before I bring on Ann Kittredge, I'm going to go ahead and show you a clip from her Virtual Shorts, a series that became very popular. It was really good. I never miss it. This is Ann Kittredge in Virtual Shorts.
Hi, everybody then. Okay, we are starting. It isn't your embrace or your delightful face that makes me know I made the wisest choice. And though your voice is not my favorite voice, I love to hear you sing off key in the key of Z. But hey, that's okay by me. I'll tell you why. My life is better by half. You make me laugh. And no matter the joy that we know in this life, there also will be tears. I can't think of anyone else who could soothe my fears. Not these spirits soar, as I mentioned before. I love your kind. So much is possible. So much is possible. Little things you say and do. That this is groundbreaking, what we're about to do. You make me. Oh my gosh. You are such a goof.
So please join me in welcoming Anne Kittredge. Hi, Anne.
Hi.
Is there anything funnier than watching yourself genuinely laugh?
Yeah, I remember the first time that Chris and I worked on it, and Chris knew the song. He'd known it from decades ago. It's a Tom Toast song, and
Yes, yeah.
But he had never heard it done before like that, and we didn't know each other. We finally met in person Memorial Day this year. Like we met, via the internet. And her relationship was via the internet for all of this time. And I'll just never forget when he heard, the way I ended it, he was just like, wow, that was different.
That's very, very funny. Well, I'll tell you, it was really good though. And sometimes I've seen a lot of stuff during the last year, a lot of virtual shows, and they're hit or miss. And I think there's something about being natural on camera that's very difficult. It's why I dislike reality television so much, because to me, it looks like a bunch of people sitting around trying to act natural.
Right.
Yeah, and it looks so contrived and so forced. And you don't. You seem to be genuinely in the moment. Was that hard for you?
It's so funny, and I really appreciate you saying that. We got a review that said the same thing, and it made me self-conscious. I was like, oh, I didn't know I was coming off so well. I mean, I was just doing what I was doing, but I did feel like, well, that tuition to Carnegie Mellon actually turned out to be worth it.
Money well spent.
Money well spent.
Right.
I did learn something,
So tell me, where were you March 20th of 2020? What was going on in your life, and what was curtailed by all of a sudden having to stay home?
Well, literally just before that, Alex Rybeck and I had just debuted a new show called Movie Night. And I mean, just before shutdown, we did a fundraiser for the Child Help Partnership at Green Room 42. And we did our Fancy Meeting You Here, an evening of errands and flaherty. And that night, actually, we knew about the virus. They hadn't shut it down yet. And I don't think any of us were taking it terribly seriously, because no one had died yet in our
But
in our
we didn't
area.
know anything. We really did not know anything.
So we didn't know how serious it was, but they were already talking about elbows and stuff. And so the reception line was a little, a lot of jokes like, oh, how are we going to do this? And we didn't really fully understand what was going on. And I remember wondering, honestly, how people afraid, are they going to show up for this fundraiser? But they did. As far as I know, and I did try to keep track, no one got sick at it, which really made me happy.
Yeah.
But that was what was going on. I was launching an entirely different direction after that show, which was, I was going to take these two shows. I had already, been blessed with taking my Errands of Flaherty show to California, and Alex and I had plans to really take it around more, and also to do the same with Movie Night. I was redirecting to really go and marketing these two shows, no longer necessarily creating another cabaret show for a while, just really focusing on getting those two shows out, and then redirecting back to legit theater, which I haven't done for several years, and I was doing it.
Yeah.
So obviously that didn't happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, and in the beginning it was, I have kids. And so.
Well, I was going to say, you have one in high school, so he was at home, but here, let's show your sweet family. And then one daughter in college. Am I right?
Yes.
So here they are. And that's Teddy and your husband. And what is your
Bob,
son's name?
Robbie,
Robbie. And there you are. And I didn't realize you had a pooch.
Toby.
Toby. Did
Toby.
Toby get as much attention as our dogs got
Oh
over
my
the
God.
pandemic?
I don't think he's going to recover.
Yeah.
He just doesn't know what to do now if we, if there's somebody that he can't go to get attention. It's like
Yeah.
he takes turns with us. And, it's getting to the point where like we were gone, all of us were gone yesterday for maybe half an hour. And
Yeah.
gosh, we got home and he was like, where were you? Wait, what?
Exactly. My tummy this tummy is not going to rub itself. It's like you look at these dogs and you think, oh my God, I've ruined you.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen.
What gave you because you've been using Jam Kazam, which I learned how to use StreamYard, which is the platform upon which we're doing this show.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned acapella. I learned those. And then all of a sudden I was using Jam Kazam, which afforded me rehearsals with people in real time. How did you learn about it?
It really was my savior on many levels. I learned from it through David Sabella. He was really promoting internet MIDI.
Yep.
And then
I remember
Jam Kazam, and I remember him saying to me, because at the time I was working with Alex Ryback, who is brilliant, but he's not at all tech savvy, and he was not about to go there, right? And I remember David saying to me, not that we're friends or anything, we aren't, but just in a class, I remember him saying, by the way, you should check out Christopher Denny. I think the two of you would work nicely together.
Yeah.
And I did, and he was right. And it was so wonderful because I've got 3 music directors recently that I really, really love working with, and they all bring something different to me and bring out something different.
Alex, Chris, and
Wendy Cavett.
Hacks. All 3 of them just hacks.
I know.
Terrible. Burns my ears. Yeah. Amazing people. Well, Chris Denny taught me how to use Jam Kazam over the phone in half an hour.
He's amazing.
And he broke it down and said, this is how you do this. This is how you use this. And I thought he made it also seem like I could do it. So how was it with your kids? Did your daughter come home?
She did. And I don't think there's an age range that wasn't adversely affected by this, but I have to say that I was grateful at least that I didn't have elementary school kids. I don't know what those parents, I don't know how they did it, because just with what I was dealing with, and these are, older kids, they're high school and college, it was excruciating. It was a really tough ride.
It was hard. I have a 17-year-old and he did all remote, and it's not fun. You don't see your friends. It's not stimulating.
It's
hard.
This year, or is he going?
He did not. No, he goes into his senior year. But all the things that you do during your junior year, it's the toughest year academically. All of that is very difficult.
It matters for college too. So
that is correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So the one good thing is hopefully our sons will have a fairly normal senior year. That's my
exactly. That's what I'm looking forward to anyway. And so for you, what are you looking forward to? What's happening?
Well, when you look at the journey we've all been through, I mean, I think that the most difficult part for me was that I lacked a purpose beyond the 4 walls of my home. Mm-hmm. Now, not that there wasn't a lot there with my kids, but I was used to. Not that people know this, but I was used to doing so many things that totally served my selfish need to contribute. I mean, I find it very selfish for me, but it's what really, really feeds my soul. And so to be isolated in that way, I really got lost. I didn't know how to be, I didn't know how to, it was really, 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 really tough.
In a community service sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, you and I are very similar in this way. And I found ways to take the products of my classes and give them away to make money for the Actors Fund. I was teaching people how to make pizzas, and I had something called Power to the Pizza, where people, if they donated to the Actors Fund, they would donate $10 to the Actors Fund and get a free pizza. I mean, I was manic about it. So I understand what happened to you.
Yeah. So in the process of all this, and then also the disappointment of not, of not being able to continue to pursue performance, there was a jumble of stuff, and Jam Kazam brought everything together.
Yeah.
And by that, I mean that when I'm going to tell a little story that takes us back, but don't worry, I'm not going to.
I'm not worried. I'm not the least bit
When
worried.
I was 14, that was when I went to my first audition. It was for
Uh-huh.
a community theater show, and my dad took me. And my dad had been gently nudging me for about 2 weeks before, and he could tell that I was just a nervous wreck. I was painfully shy at that time in my life, and
Yeah.
it was not something that I wanted to do, but I wanted to, right?
Yeah.
And so he got me there, and I did the audition, and I think it was for Jesus Christ Superstar, and I think I sang Johnny One Note.
No.
Like, I'm telling you, this was
Yeah.
so. I did it. I made it through the audition, and of course, I got in the show because everyone does. It's community theater. I did not do the show. I didn't have the courage.
Oh.
I got through the audition, which took every ounce of effort, but I just couldn't do the show. And my dad made me feel like a winner.
Yeah.
I got through the audition.
Yeah.
And he, I lost him when I was pretty young, but that moment to me is so important because he had a sense of my potential that I had no sense of, nor could I even process that that's what he was doing, really.
Oh, that's a good dad.
Potential.
Yeah.
And so when I was introduced to Jam Kazam and started working with Chris, and then meeting Matt Berman, who is the bomb of tech.
Oh, he's amazing. Matt is terrific. Yeah.
He's such a great, great human being.
Yeah. Well, I was just saying to Dawn Derow that you were obviously the fuel that led it, but knowing the people to pull around you is a very, very important piece of it.
It is. And so what all came together was this idea that, people were struggling to perform. They were doing things in their dining room. They were using, the sound was terrible. The lighting was terrible, all of these things. And I thought, there's a purpose here. And the purpose is that if Matt and Chris and I can really do this, we can encourage people to find a way to be artistically rewarded with no latency, with good sound, with all of these different things that can bring what you're doing online to more of a professional level and really be gratified by it, get the opportunity to perform with people live, even though you're in your home, instead of just a tape recorder. And I also felt like audiences would welcome that instead of always seeing things that were sometimes incredibly well produced, but still not live. You lose that live, there's a mistake. How is she going to deal with it? All of these things that become very endearing for an audience, right?
Yeah, there's an energetic element to live that makes a big difference. Yeah.
There is. And so yes.
Do you think you're going to continue with us? Are you going to continue doing virtual shorts?
Yes, we are. We took June off because Jam Kazam is going through growing pains.
Yeah, growing pains, big time. Yep.
So I just thought, we need to give them a little time to think. But I just talked to Matt yesterday, and it's like 3:00 in the morning in Amsterdam, and he's like, "Hey, you and Chris and I, we got to get on next week and do some stuff." And I was like, "So we're right now. I'm planning for August because I've got another project in July. So we're planning on August, and and so
great. No, that's so great. Well, the ASA is incredibly lucky to have you on the board. I know that you are an engaged and interested mom. And I know that we're going to get to hear you sing again, which is always an incredible treat. We'll see virtual shorts. What else is on the docket for you? Do you have any shows planned or?
Yes. So I don't know the time yet, but my movie night is going to be at Burland on October 10th.
Wonderful.
Yes. And I can say this because my mother is not on the computer. She's turning 95 this year. So she's going to think she's coming to see my show, which she is, but little does she know that it's going to be a big surprise.
Oh, that's just lovely. I think I have a photo here actually of a Zoom that was a Mother's Day Zoom with your family, which was so lovely.
Yeah.
Well, I am going to play you out with another wonderful virtual shorts featuring LaTanya Hall, who's one of my absolute favorite singers.
Oh, she's so love. Oh.
And thank you.
Michigan. She was in Michigan when we did this live.
Isn't that? Yeah, it's amazing. She is an incredible singer, and you attract incredible people, and your work is absolutely wonderful, and we can't wait to see more of you. Thank you, Ann Kittredge.
Bike together at 3 a.m.
I remember an exploding gift at 3 a.m. That was a nice cleanup job, let me tell you.
Those are the days.
Fuses blow, trees collapse.
Candy canes crack my caps. And when I get those bills, I grieve.
Better than hot house tomatoes, better than fresh Bartlett pears,
better than dining a la carte,
or simply gastronomic art,
better than anything except being in love.
Oh, yeah. Taste it, release your inhibitions.
Our next guest actually has me fangirling out just a little bit. I have always been a huge fan. You've seen him on and off Broadway. I'm constantly seeing him on brand new television series. He works all the time. You've seen him in film. He's won numerous awards. He's a cabaret icon. And when the global pandemic hit, he did not miss a trick. He was featured on Metropolitan Zoom. He arranged some benefits for a regular charitable organization for which he has always raised money every year. He just turned it into a virtual Lollapalooza. I'm going to play a clip of him in his Metropolitan Zoom, and then I will introduce live Eric Michael Gillett.
Who can say today may live in history as long as there's a history book? Yesterday the world was still a mystery. Today it has a new and different look. Church full of singing out of tune. Everyone's gone to the moon. Long time ago, life had begun. Everyone went to the sun.
There wasn't a lot of excitement in the day, you know. So my big excitement was every day at 5 o'clock getting my little pie plate and my little wooden spoon and leaning my head out the window and beating my pie plate in honor of all the frontline workers. It was so good. And then right after that, I would tune in and watch Brian Stokes Mitchell sing The Impossible Dream from the terrace of his Upper West Side apartment. I mean, it was inspirational to a point. The fact is, I was completely filled with rage about this whole thing. I mean, I cannot tell you. What I wanted to do, I wanted to open my window and I wanted to poke my head out and I wanted to yell, not, you know, I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take this anymore, but something like more like, were you bored?
And everything sparkled dust, bugle beads, ostrich plumes. When it's a beaded lash that you look through. 'Cause when I feel glamorous, elegant, beautiful, the world that I'm looking at's beautiful too. On and on you stumble on toward towards the fading sun. Turn a blind eye, fight a run. Rest assured, the night will come. Well, the sun rose with so many colors it nearly broke my heart. It worked me over like a work of art, and I was a part of all that. So go ahead, push luck. Say what it is you've got to say to me. We will push on into that mystery, and it'll push right back. And there are worse things than that, 'cause for every price and every penance that I could think of, it's better to have fallen in love than never to have fallen at all. 'Cause when you live in a world, well, it gets into who you thought you'd be. And now I laugh at how the world changed me. I think life chose me after all.
Please join me in welcoming the master of any genre he tackles, including the global pandemic, Eric Michael Gillett. Were you bored?
Did you think these people haven't had enough shit lately?
Well, this is one of the reasons I have to tell you why you're so good at what you do in live cabaret, because I've played that now. I've played that clip. I've missed you, actually, and I've played this clip 3 or 4 times. And every time that clip comes in and you say that, I laugh like I'm hearing it for the first time, because I've never been able to figure out why I would feel such rage occasionally when everybody else was shedding tears and emoting. And I'm like, I'm so mad, you know? And so I'm glad I have a partner in rage in you. How are you?
I'm great. It's great to see you. It's really nice to be here today.
It's great to see you too. And so I'm just going to ask you what I asked the 2 previous guests, which was, what were you doing around March 2020, and how did the shutdown affect your life? What did it end or begin for you?
Well, the shutdown itself, I was aware that things were going to go south earlier in the month. And I have a couple of friends who were a little more neurotic than I am and a little panicky. And I think around March 12th, they made the decision. I think we were supposed to go see Caroline or Change that night. And they decided they were leaving the city. They were going out to their home in Westchester and hunkering down there. And I remember my friend Tommy saying, I'll go for 2 weeks. That's it, 2 weeks. And, you know, I think we all thought, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, but I don't think anybody thought 15 months. Yeah. So because I was aware of it, I started thinking in advance, like if we do shut everything down, my primary work is directing and in teaching voice and also coaching actors. So fortunately, I was well versed in using platforms to teach, because I have students in Canada and students in Korea and students in Taiwan and places like that. So I had already sort of created it. I had just never done it for my general practice here in the city.
Right.
So the shutdown happened. My last day at work, it turns out that 2 of the people who were in that room that day actually contracted COVID. One of them extremely mildly, the other one a little more severely, but both recovered. Yeah. And when I went home and locked in, I don't think I was particularly paranoid at first. I did see a meme that I thought was hilariously funny. It's like about 2 weeks into the lockdown. It says something like, the thing that frightens me about the lockdown is that I've realized what kind of a person I am. And I know it this way. I know it's because my life has not changed since I stopped going out. And yeah. I kind of felt that way. I was in my house. I was perfectly comfortable. I liked being in my home. I started teaching like the week after the lockdown. I gave everybody a few days, and then I said, this is what I'm going to be doing. It will be very much a reduced rate, or pay what you can, because plainly people were going to be out of work.
Right.
And a good portion of my practice stayed with me. And so that part of my life didn't really change. Auditioning for film and TV, of course, that shut down completely.
I was going to say, and you work a lot on television. I mean, I'm blown away by how much I see you on television.
Well, I get my fair share. I'm very fortunate. I work with a wonderful manager named Genevieve Brewer and her associate Tracy Heller, and also I work with a lovely agency called Firestarter.
Right.
Katie Sasso represents me for TV and film here in New York. And, they were getting me out, regularly, and I was doing okay with bookings, but then that was completely dry.
Right.
And what I was not adept at yet was how the world changed, which is the entire self-tape world. The whole thing of every submission that we do now, we are now not only learning the lines and then showing up for an audition, we're learning the lines and we're producing it and we're editing it and we're mounting it. Mm-hmm. And that was a huge, huge thing. So when the lockdown first happened, I looked at the skills that I had and what I thought I would need to survive in whatever this brave new world was going to be. And I started buying equipment and building up my skill set. I did something really cool. There was a woman named Alexandra Jade who formed a company called Magic Juju out of LA. And they had a challenge where you do 10 monologues in 10 days. And what happens is the assignment comes to you at 9 o'clock in the morning, and you have to find the monologue, learn the monologue, shoot the monologue, edit the monologue, and mount the monologue all before
I know
midnight.
somebody that did this, but yes. And how helpful was that? What was the difference?
Well, it made my skills are just mad wicked now. I mean, I can go in and I can get an audition. I mean, I'm picky about my work. So if I get an audition and it's complex dialogue or I'm having trouble making it as good as I want it to be, that might take time. But my setup, my breakdown, my edit, all of that I can do like that now. And I could not do that before.
Do you think it's been helpful, actually, that people can actually edit their audition, rework it, redo it, and turn in something that is much more polished? I mean, it used to be you walk in front of people, you get a chance, and you walk out.
Right.
What do you think?
Well, there's two ways to look at it. A lot of actors have embraced the self-tape, and a lot of actors hate it. They want the live interaction. This is especially true with equity actors, people who are going in for stage productions. But for film and TV, what you miss by not going in live is the chance for the casting director to give you input and an adjustment if what you're doing is close but not the cigar. I'll give an example. I did a recurring role on Daredevil a few years ago. And at my audition, for a show like Daredevil, you don't get any information. It's all, non-disclosure agreement. Right. So you have limited number of pages, and it's plainly I've done something, and plainly I'm going to confess about it, but I have no idea what I did or how bad it could be, or nothing.
Yeah.
And I said to casting, I said, I don't know if you're allowed to answer this, but could you at least tell me how severe it is? And she says, oh, well, like I said, on a scale of 1 to 10, she goes, well, you could lose your job. And I said, oh, so it's like a 4. And she goes, that's a 4 to you? And I went, well, yeah, to me. And she goes, okay, then it's an 8. So we did the scene, and I finished the scene, and she looks at me and she goes, it's a 12. So we ramped it up. But that's the kind of input you can't get in a virtual. Yeah. But in a virtual audition, on the other hand, you control certain things, which means you can literally wait until you've got magic in a bottle before you send it off.
Exactly.
And be proud of it. And also another thing that some actors, I don't know that they respond to this, but for EcoCast and all those things, they get sent to your representatives first. So, if let's say you do 12 auditions and you get no callbacks, well, your agents and managers don't know, did you crash and burn in the room? Did they hate you? What? Right. Now they're actually seeing your work before they submit it. Yeah. And that means that they know the quality of what you turned in. So if you don't book it, it's back to, well, it's a numbers game and it will break.
Right.
And it does break.
Interesting. It's so interesting. And it's a whole new day because now it's here to stay.
Right. It's not going away.
No, it's not going away. And there are people that have railed against it. And somehow I think, and you can tell me if you think I'm crazy, but when people say when life gets back to normal, and my response to that is, oh, no. Life as we knew it it's not going to be this way anymore.
I agree. I agree with you. I don't know that I wanted to go back to normal, come out with reduced needs. It's like you don't realize how often you were going out to dinner and going out drinking and going out socializing and spending a fortune. Yeah. And so you come out and then suddenly you're studying other things. You're going to Stack Social and getting the Rosetta Stone lifetime subscription so you can learn German again, which I haven't spoken since high school. It's all the stuff that it brought into my life. I wouldn't want to give that away just to run willy-nilly back out into the world.
Right. And it did give us, or some of us, I'm not sure if it gave everybody, but it did for me. It gave me pause to also sort of prioritize. What is it that's
absolutely
important right now? I do have to say, I saw you in Orphans at the Sam Beckett, I think. And there's an example where, I don't know if our viewers are knowledgeable about that play, but it really is. It's almost like a monologue with two other characters. You carry the entire show.
Don't tell the other actors.
Yeah. It's unbelievable. And I remember my jaw hitting the floor because I had heard you sing and I had heard you, but I hadn't heard you do that. And it was just a beautiful thing. So being a master of lots of trades is pretty amazing. And you have been doing benefits for an organization called the Benjamin House.
Yes.
For adults who are developmentally disabled. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. And you've been doing that for how long?
Well, it's not a convoluted story, but it is a little long. I've been doing the benefits. I think this year's virtual benefit, which was a blast to put together. This year's benefit was the 10th, I believe, but I have been associated with the Benjamin House since it opened, which is, I think, 19 or 20 years now. And then I've known the family who built it since I met their son, for whom the house is named, when he came to the circus my very first year as the ringmaster. And his mother wrote a note and asked, she said, my son is disabled, but what he wants to be is a ringmaster, and he would love to meet you. And I told the promoter, I said, just tell them to wait in the arena. I'll come out and talk to them. And I met Ben and his mom, Ann Park Hughes, and fell in love with them. And we have been fast friends now. Well, that would have been 1987. So you do the math.
Yeah. I can. It hurts. I just read the funniest meme that said, "You don't understand. 1990 was 20 years ago." And 2010 was 2 years ago. And I thought, that is so absolutely true. I'm going to play a clip, if you're okay with this, for the virtual benefit that you put together for Benjamin House, because it's one of the only clips that really made me wish I had seen the entire show. So I'm going to go ahead and play that and let the people see what you did. I'm making lemonade out of lemons here.
Okay.
Alibaba having 40 people.
You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. You really are a heel. You're as cozy as a cactus. You're as charming as an eel, Mr. Grinch. You're a bad banana with a greasy black peel.
Alibaba having 40 thieves. Scheherazade had 1,000 tales. But master, you're in luck, 'cause up your sleeves you got a brand of magic never fails. You got some power in your corner now, some heavy ammunition in your camp. You got some punch pizzazz, yahoo and how. See, all you got to do is rub that lamp, and I'll say, Mr. Aladdin, sir, what will your pleasure be? Let me take your order, jot it down. You ain't never had a friend like me. No.
I want a hippopotamus for Christmas. The kind I saw last summer at the zoo. I've got tons of room in our two-car garage. I feed him there and wash him there and give him his massage. I can see me now on Christmas morning, creeping down the stairs. Oh, what joy and what surprise when I open up my eyes to see my hippo hero standing there.
Merry Christmas, everybody. It's Marta here. Remember what fun we had last year? It was my first time. I was so honored to be invited to come down to beautiful North Carolina, an exquisite Benjamin House with the most extraordinary residents. Well, there's Benjamin, of course, and there's Bart. Bart was always trying to kiss me. Bart?
The lights on my tree, I wish you could see. I wish it every day. The long
logs on the fire fill me with desire to hear you and to say that I wish you Merry Christmas, Happy New Year too. I've just one wish on this Christmas Eve. I wish I were with you.
All right. See, I'm already getting something. You know, I'm just going to take one here, and I'm going to make a little prediction. This is not your card, the two, but
Got it.
Think about your card for a second, and I'm going to do this as quickly as possible because I know everyone at the Benjamin house is like, what's going on? Get with the program here. And the card you've been thinking about the entire time is the 3 of clubs.
No.
That's not your card?
Not my card.
What was your card?
5 of spades.
The 9 of spades?
5 of spades.
5 of spades. Watch.
Whoa.
Chaque jour est un jour comme les autres beaux jours. Le potage, l'ouvrage, peut-être l'amour. Le soleil, il voyage, le monde fait un tour. Ainsi c'est toujours le même.
Well, so lovely, and so it's so beautifully live. That's the thing, is it was not, none of that was contrived. It was so beautiful. So
no, we were fortunate. We were fortunate because we were able to create live things that we shot during the pandemic, clips from benefits that had been in New York with performers who'd never gone to Benjamin House. We usually do it once here and then once down there, and we take a smaller group. So and other people produced sequences for us. I mean, there was some phenomenal stuff that was submitted. The entire special was very well received, and I think one of their most successful ones.
that is amazing, and also incredible how many people did show up and got to see some quality work during a time when I think people did feel quite lonely, you know,
Yeah.
and it was so lovely to see the performers. But this is very exciting, especially for our students who are watching, and we have several, that they do get to see you actually soon. We can give them a date on August 26th, which is your 30th birthday.
Yeah, for the 40th time.
Yeah. And it's through Metropolitan Zoom. How do people tune into that?
Metropolitan Zoom, I hire someone who does my social media for it. We put it out there. You can go to the metropolitanzoom.com site, and they have their calendar of all their shows. And I'm celebrating my 70th with a show called Water Under the Bridge. And if that doesn't speak about being 70 years old, I don't know what does. And it's a great place to work because people from all over the world can watch you. People not in your time zone can see you. And you know, and you can still have a 2-drink minimum. You just got to go to the bar and make it yourself.
There you go. The money that you save is incredible. The through line of all of these interviews I'm realizing right now and culminating with you has really been that this virtual world, when it's done right, can be still magical.
Absolutely.
And that it is here to stay. We will see you live, but we will also see you in a virtual format so that the people that have missed you can, you know, that live in Chicago or Tokyo or wherever can catch you. And I think that's brilliant. You are always, to me, I am always a fan and an admirer. Eric was my director after a 10-year hiatus from singing. He got me to a place in about 3 months. I thought it took you to get me to a place where I traveled to 22 cities, got a New York Times review, was nominated and won awards. It was quite incredible, and it was due a lot to Eric's incredible direction.
I think that's a tribute to you and to your talent and your drive.
Well, I look forward to seeing you again in person. But in the meantime, on August 26th, you can see him on the Metropolitan Zoom for his 70th birthday celebration. There will be, I know, but there will be many, many more, and we will get to see your talent for many, many years to come, live and virtually. Eric, thank you so much for joining us and for being a part of the today. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And thank you all for watching today. It's been wonderful to have you. Once again, this has been Sunday Sessions. It started off as Sunday Summer Sessions. Say that fast. This is the Sunday Summer Sessions series. I'm Carolyn Montgomery, and the whole board of the American Songbook Association joins me in thanking you for being here today. And now a closing word from one of the biggest fans and parts of the ASA.
Hello, human lovers of music. Thanks so much for tuning into our show today. I'm George, official canine of the American Songbook Association. As it turns out, music does soothe the savage beast, but also civilized beasts like me. Before you go, won't you please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel? It's as easy as finding the word subscribe in the upper right-hand corner of the main screen and clicking on it. I can do it, and I don't even have opposable thumbs. If you're able to donate today, or really any other day, the humans at the ASA and all the human students they serve will be very grateful. Get all the information on our next Sunday session on the Cabaret Scenes or ASA Instagram and Facebook pages. And follow us while you're there. See you next time, and thank you so much for watching.